we're moving on from the rubbish to the madness. Yeah, let's do this one. In case anybody missed this. It's not just a bombshell. It's a bombshell to anybody who's been living under a rock. And even then, it's going to be so much of a bombshell that they're going to have to go from their rock to their bomb shelter to avoid the fallout from this, the psychological fallout. Listen to this.
How do you guys handle things when they're a big news item that's controversial? Like there was a lot of attention on Twitter during the election because of the Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. Basically the background here.
Just stop for 1 second. I am very conscious about it when I speak and when I answer questions. How did Zuckerberg answer that question? What was the first word of that answer?
The Hunter Biden laptop story. The New York Post.
Had that too.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a...
So it's not a hard and fast rule. It's just a pretty damn good indication. When someone starts an answer that has typically a yes or no as a preface, as a start, when they start with so, you're about to get lied to, or you're about to get, what's the word I'm looking for? Deceived. There's going to be an attempt at deception. It's funny. I just had the biggest flashback to my childhood in camp, and was with this guy. He'll remember. I doubt he's watching, but we had this whole joke. And we would start every answer with, so here's the thing about that. And it would be like, so you accidentally ran over my dog and then buried it in the backyard and forgot to tell me and then tried to buy me a new dog. Is that what happened? So here's the thing about that. Oh, that's such a random memory. You're about to get lied to. And by the way, you're about to get deceived or attempt to be deceived, because it's not just that this statement starts with a so. Look exactly where it goes right after question about you. What did you do? So
top story.
We had that too.
So you guys censored that as well?
I love.
So we took a different path than Twitter.
I'm sorry. Basically, why the hell are you talking about Twitter in your answer? I know the question was, okay, Twitter censored it. Did you guys censor it too? So we took a different approach than Twitter. This is no different than when you try to get mad at, or when you do get mad at one of your kids because they did something dumb, and they say, but my sister did something bad too. I'm not speaking from any experience that just happened yesterday 5 times every day. Can you clean up? Can you make your bed? Oh, but she didn't make her bed. Yeah, that's what children do to divert the attention from their own wrongdoing. I'm going to stop interrupting now.
Yeah, so you guys censored that as well?
So we took a different path than Twitter. Basically the background here is the FBI, I think, basically came to us, some folks on our team, and was like, hey.
The FBI basically came to us, minimizing language, just like, it just basically came to us.
Just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda.
By the way, I like Joe Rogan's style. He's non-confrontational. I would be much more confrontational. I'm sorry, Zuckerberg. How does the FBI come to you? I doubt they show up at your offices with badges. So I suspect they picked up a phone, organized a Zoom meeting. I suspect they had a direct back channel to the most upper level executives or players at Facebook. I presume. It's not like they showed up at the offices with their badges and then say, can we meet? We have to talk to you. So I'd like to know how. I would like to flesh that out, Zuckerberg. If you ever want to come on for a live stream, hashtag, let's make it happen.
Just so you know, like, you should be on high alert. There was we thought that there was a lot of Russian propaganda in the 2016 election. We have it on notice that basically there's about to be some kind of dump of that's similar to that.
The FBI, the intelligence of America, are going to Zuckerberg through whatever back channel or front channel they have, and they're telling Zuckerberg, like the other Russia disinformation, this Hunter Biden laptop story is Russian disinformation. Appreciate that. By the way, let's just back up now. It was true. So Zuckerberg right now is telling us that intelligence, the FBI, came to them and sort of led them with what is now itself misinformation, that this was Russian disinformation, because it wasn't. But that's what Zuckerberg is telling the world now. The FBI told Facebook, come in through their back channels or front channels, tell Zuckerberg that the Hunter Biden laptop story is Russian disinformation and you need to censor it.
So just be vigilant. So our protocol is different from Twitter's. What Twitter
Nobody
did
asked you.
is they said you can't share this at all. We didn't do that.
We're so much
What
better.
we do is we have, if something is reported to us as potentially misinformation, important misinformation, we also have this third-party fact-checking program because we don't.
We've seen the third-party fact checkers, or as I like to say, they're third-party fact checkers. Those are contracted individuals. Those are contracts that work with Facebook, and that, like parasites, siphon off traffic from popular Facebook platforms onto their own disingenuous misinformation fact-checking platforms.
Don't want to be deciding what's true and false. And for I think it was 5 or 7 days when it was basically being determined whether it was false, the distribution on Facebook was decreased, but people were still allowed to share it. So you could still share it, you could still consume it.
So when you say the distribution is decreased,
it got shared.
How does that work?
By the way, it's not Joe Rogan's very soft, almost high-pitched voice here. He tends to talk like that, but it's not an accident. This is unassuming. He doesn't want to make Zuckerberg. He's loving the gold. I would probably be making Zuckerberg recoil into his shell, which is why everyone has their own method. I have been told that I'm much more of a cross-examining attorney as opposed to a laid-back, soft-spoken Joe Rogan. But he's getting the gold. Maybe not all the details. He's getting the gold. It's not like the finely woven chain, but it's the nugget.
Basically, the ranking in newsfeed was a little bit less. So
a little bit less.
Fewer people saw it.
How much less
than would have otherwise? So it definitely.
By what percentage?
I don't know off the top of my head, but it's meaningful. But basically
it's meaningful.
A lot of people were still able.
I'm in a lot of shit right now. It's basically what that was. How do I get out of this?
A lot of people were still able to share it.
A lot.
We got a lot of complaints that was the case.
Meaningfully less.
Obviously this is a hyper political issue. So depending on what side of the political spectrum, you either think we didn't censor it enough or censored it way too much. But we weren't sort of as black and white about it as Twitter. We just kind of thought, hey, look, if the FBI, which I still view as a legitimate institution in this country, it's like very professional law enforcement, they come to us and tell us that we need to be on guard about something, then I want to take that seriously.
Did they specifically say you need to be on guard about that story?
No, I don't remember if it was that specifically.
No,
but
I don't remember.
It basically fit the pattern.
This is bombshell stuff. I mean, it's serious bombshell stuff. The FBI goes to, they're just private companies. I mean, how many times have we heard disingenuous actors argue they're private companies, they can censor whatever they want, not when they're acting at the behest, and I would dare say at the pressure. When the FBI shows up or makes the call, that's not a request. That is you'd better damn well do it. That is a form of compulsion. Oh, it's just the FBI suggesting that if we don't suppress this story, we're going to be guilty of spreading Russian disinformation. We just want to talk. I mean, that's like Harold and Kumar. Was it the second one? Cops chasing you with batons, smacking them against their hands. We just want to talk. When the FBI comes to your door and tells you to censor something, that's compulsion. So you have now a state actor going to a private company, telling them to censor information. Everyone out there who's ever argued it's a private company, they can do what they want, you just lost that argument, at the very least in fact, if not yet in law. So it's a mob. It would be a shame if something happens to your nice business. You have such a nice big glass in front of here. What does a pane of glass like that cost? $3,000, $5,000? Be a shame if someone smashed it. So there's a bit of a problem here that Zuckerberg, and by the way, I'm not sure that he's in a position to admit anything for Twitter, but I think he might be. Twitter and Facebook, approached by the FBI, effectively ordered to suppress a story on a false pretext coming from the FBI itself. Russian disinformation on the Hunter Biden laptop. If the FBI truly believed that, we should be somewhat concerned. If they knew that that was not true, we should be somewhat concerned. The affidavit, well, so apparently the affidavit has been released. Apparently it's heavily redacted. And the bottom line of the affidavit is the documents were not being properly stored. Remember the information being leaked, misinformation to the media, nuclear documents. Remember what the judge said. I authorized this unprecedented raid, because it is a raid by definition. I authorized this unprecedented raid based on that affidavit alone. And apparently, from what I've seen only in descriptions here and from a message I just got, the affidavit is largely redacted and basically says the information, the documents were not being properly stored. Well, okay. So, some people's suspicions of the judge might just have been confirmed. FBI turning Facebook and Twitter into their own apparatus for providing disinformation, for censoring actual information. I made a joke. In 1960s, it was known as Operation Mockingbird when intelligence infiltrated the New York Times to get the New York Times to basically publish disinformation that was favorable to intelligence. 1963, it was Operation Mockingbird. 2022, it's Operation Zuckerberg.